Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you, as usual, for taking the time to check out my latest live stream that I always do every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, of course. So a few things to mention before I do get started with talking about today's topic. I do, as always, want to mention my website, which is bponlinefitness.com. It's here on the left side of the screen there. So again, ton of free resources there to check out. I try to keep it updated as much as possible. There's a free fitness blog that you can check out there, as well as information on online coaching. You can sign up for the free email newsletter that I send out each and every week on Monday. You will also, when you sign up for the email newsletter, you also get information and updates on any promotions or sales I may have running, as well as reminders on any live streams I do, such as this one. So you'll stay updated with everything I'm doing, along with accessing free fitness and nutrition related information. So definitely check that out and sign up if that's something you're interested in receiving to your email. If you have any questions on anything related to my website, feel free to reach out. As far as that, or another thing I do want to mention is I do have a new how to workout video that has been uploaded to my YouTube. I uploaded it last week, but I do want to mention it because um, there may be people that may not have seen it or checked it out. I definitely encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I always upload to that weekly. Any of my live streams are usually uploaded there. That's usually where I pretty much archive any of the previous live streams I've done. And of course, I make original content on there as well. So any of the how to workout videos that I do that are, a little bit longer than my short form videos, those are usually put on there exclusively. So I don't really post those in other areas. So there's some videos that you can check out on YouTube that I don't, post in other, social media places. So definitely subscribe to that and check it out. I always keep my YouTube updated. It's updated pretty much daily. I usually do a community post on there each and every day. So definitely check that out. If you want to learn how to access my YouTube, you can always reach out. But that's all I wanted to mention before we get started. So, what we're going to be talking about today is anti inflammatory foods in recovery. So, this topic is going to be a little bit beyond just anti inflammatory foods. I decided to sort of expand upon the topic a little bit more. So I'm going to be talking ways that you can also in your lifestyle um, be able to prevent that for, not only with the food you eat, but also stuff that you do in your lifestyle along with the recovery. So that's basically what I'm going to be talking about today. And I'm going to define a little bit about, what anti-inflammatory is, what it affects, and things of that nature. So I'm going to really try to define these things well for you guys to understand and to know what they mean. So this is, of course, a little bit different topic that I don't normally talk about, but as you guys know, I usually like to dive deep in things related to health or fitness and nutrition, anything of that sort. I usually try to dive deep into them. And this is a topic that I felt like would be a great option to include because it's something I've not really touched on. So, the definition of inflammation. So, inflammation is the body's natural response to injury, infection, or harmful stimuli. It is a crucial part of the immune system's defense mechanism and involves the activation of immune cells that release the signaling molecules and changes in the blood flow. So, that's basically a clear cut definition of what inflammation is. So another thing you need to keep in mind is the various signs of inflammation. There's various signs that can be detected when it comes to inflammation. So an example of these signs can include any redness, swelling, pain, or discomfort. Chronic inflammation can also lead to swelling, fatigue, digestive issues, skin change, and joint pain. So these are just some of the basically the symptoms or signs that you could have inflammation in your body. Um, so there's various lifestyle factors that can affect inflammation, things that you do in your life, and there's different sort of tactics that you need to keep in mind in order to sort of prevent this. Inflammation, of course, is the body's natural response to injury. So that's the big thing that you need to keep in mind is that this is a natural response. However, inflammation can sort of get out of hand. Um, and while acute inflammation is necessary for healing, chronic inflammation can lead to various health issues, including heart disease, diabetes, and autoimmune disorders. So several lifestyle factors can influence inflammation levels in the body. And the reason why I'm talking about this, I know that it sounds a little odd talking about this topic in a sense because it is a topic that relates to, you know, it is still in the same vein as fitness, but it still relates a little bit to health. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is that there's various different conditions that we can all get in our lives. There's various, no matter what it is, we can get various conditions, and sometimes it's hard to know what we need to do to counteract those things when it comes to especially conditions that we can address in our lifestyle or in things that we do in our daily lives. And that's why I'm sort of mentioning this is because it's important to know that there are many things that you can do in your life that can help, not not to say that it can cure these things, but that it can help to alleviate, any sort of excessive progression of something, or, help to, sort of slow down the progression of something. So there's different things that you can do, as it relates to conditions, kind of like inflammation, where you can, change your lifestyle habits, things that you do in your daily life to sort of slow this sort of pain that you may have. So adopting a healthy diet, engaging in regular physical activity, and ensuring adequate sleep, managing stress, avoiding smoking, and moderating alcohol consumption, maintaining healthy weight, staying hydrated, and minimizing exposure to environmental toxins, and supporting gut health, individuals can effectively reduce inflammation and improve overall health. So, as you can see, these are a lot of different things that I mention a lot of times when I'm talking about, you know, the topics that I go over in the live streams I do, as it relates to, being aware of your habits, and, whether it's tracking your nutrition or tracking, your hydration. A lot of this stuff I talk about. And so this is like basically giving you an overview of how important this stuff is, not just in the fact of okay, getting a healthier lifestyle, but that it can really affect um, any conditions, any specific health conditions you may have. And that's why I'm sort of talking about this, is because a lot of the topics that I talk about over and over again and mention many times, they can be the best factors to alleviate those conditions. And that's why I speak about those so much. So, what I'm going to talk about here next is sort of define for you the difference between acute and chronic inflammation. Now, these are two different things. So, acute is basically inflammation that aims to eliminate the initial cause of injury, clear out damaged cells, and establish the necessary or establish the conditions necessary for tissue repair. And unlike acute inflammation, chronic inflammation is not beneficial and can lead to tissue damage and contribute to various chronic diseases. So keep in mind that inflammation in certain conditions is a natural response in the body in order to, of course, with as it relates to pain and anything of that sort. So acute versus chronic inflammation. So, acute inflammation, keep in mind, is a short term condition, rapid onset, protective. Of course, it resolves once the harmful stimulus is removed, characterized by redness, heat, swelling, pain, and loss of function. Chronic inflammation is a long term, slow onset, harmful, and persists due to unresolved issues leading to tissue damage and chronic diseases. Symptoms are more insidious and can include systematic effects. Um, Another thing to keep in mind, like I mentioned, when it comes with like your lifestyle habits, diet does play a big role. And there's specific things that you can do, as far as your diet that can help to alleviate any inflammation that you have. Again, when we're talking about these sort of topics, it is, of course, recommended that you speak to a doctor in order to know, the details of your condition. So don't just take it from me. Um, I can speak about, as a personal trainer, I can speak about you know, a lot of the general health guidelines that you should focus on and things of that nature. But of course, I can't, you know, say that, I couldn't diagnose anything to say the least. That's outside of my scope of practice as a personal trainer. So if there's anything in relation that, for diagnosis or anything like that, of course, you do need to speak to a doctor. So I did want to mention that, of course, as well. So another thing to keep in mind is that there's various things that you can do as it relates to your diet that can help to sort of, have a little bit of control over inflammation. So some foods that you can include in your diet can be like berries, such as blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. So these are high in antioxidants like athanasins, athanasians, which reduce inflammation, also rich in vitamins and fiber. Fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, trout, excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, which is found in these omega-3 fatty acids which have the strong anti-inflammatory effects. They help reduce the production of inflammatory molecules in cytokines. So keep that in mind as well, that there's foods that you can consume that can help to alleviate, any pain that you may have. Another way to reduce inflammation, continuing to expand upon that. And this somewhat stays in the same vein as your lifestyle, um, how what you eat, what you do, things of that nature can, of course, have an effect. And this sort of goes into that. So, reducing inflammation. So, after a workout is crucial for effective recovery and overall health. Inflammation is a natural response to exercise-induced muscle damage. This is another reason why we're talking about this as well. But excessive or prolonged inflammation can hinder recovery and lead to chronic issues. So, reducing intake of various foods, such as white bread, pastries, as well as sugary snacks, can have an impact. Trans fats and processed meats, and even high alcohol intake can also lead to inflammatory responses. So, again, inflammation can happen from workouts as well. But as long as you have, proper recovery, and a proper diet, it can help to alleviate that pain you may have. So keep that in mind as well. So I do want to mention a little bit about the role of omega-3 fatty acids, and I wanted to expand a little bit upon um, what they are. And I do have a question here that I do want to address that I have from Wayne. Um, because I do have two screens here, I can do this now. So I do want to answer this question that Wayne has. So he's basically mentioning, does having a healthy lifestyle help to minimize inflammation following such injuries or not? So yes, your lifestyle does really impact injuries as well. Like I sort of mentioned before, when it comes to recovery and the aspect of inflammation kind of play a role with each other because really, when you think of recovery itself, it's still sort of the same thing. It's all about your lifestyle choices that you're making. You know, are you getting proper rest? Are you sleeping enough? Are you, having the proper nutrients in your body in order to help to, basically help with that muscle recovery? So that does have an effect. So when it does come, when it comes to injuries, it can be very beneficial, you know, having that proper lifestyle. Of course, it does take time, for that to be able to, recover fully from that injury, of course. But if you're making the proper choices in your life, in your lifestyle, it can really help to affect your recovery a little bit faster, I guess is what I'm trying to say there. So I hope that answered your question, Wayne. I'm not sure if that was clearly what you were looking for, but yes, your lifestyle does play an important role, even when it comes to injuries as well. Um, of course, that's something, when it comes to, injuries that are really severe, I can't say the same for those, but minor injuries, they can be, as long as you're making the proper lifestyle choices, like I've mentioned with recovery, it can help to alleviate that. So going back to the role of omega-3 fatty acids, so I talked about this in the previous slide, and I want to explain a little bit about what EPA and DHA is, which is what I mentioned previously on omega-3s in this last slide. So I mentioned, or on this previous slide here, so I mentioned that fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, trout are excellent sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which has EPA and DHA. So here I'm going to explain a little bit more in detail about that. So omega-3 fatty acids play a crucial role in modulating inflammation in the body. These essential fats found in various foods have been extensively studied for their anti-inflammatory properties. The three main types of omega-3 fatty acids are EPA, DHA, and ALA. So you've got extophonic acid, dicosahexaonic acid, if I say it right, alpha linoleic acid. So you've got EPA and DHA. Usually that's what I say instead of the long word. But EPA and DHA, what those are, they're found in fatty fish and marine sources. So they are basically the most potent in terms of anti-inflammatory effects. So those types of fatty acids found in those specific foods have the most potent form of anti-inflammatory effects. ALA is found in plant sources like flax seeds and walnuts and can be converted into EPA and DHA in the body, but this process is not very efficient. So, consuming, you know, anything related to marine sources like fish is going to be a good option for those omega-3 fatty acids. Of course, if you can consume that type of food, I know that there are certain people that do have, you know, can, who are allergic. I couldn't think of the word, who are allergic to that specific type of food. So you can still get those sources even if you don't consume fish, which is like flax seeds and walnuts, if you can consume those foods. So that's another option there. So regular exercise and its response to inflammation. So this is another thing to keep in mind. Regular exercise is a powerful tool for reducing and managing inflammation. It impacts the body in several ways, leading to a healthier inflammatory response and overall better health. Regular exercise is a key strategy in managing and reducing inflammation. So it works through multiple mechanisms, including lowering inflammatory markers, improving immune function, reducing visceral fat, increasing production of anti-inflammatory molecules, and enhancing antioxidants defenses. So it's going to improve metabolic health, balancing hormones, promoting gut health, maintaining joint health, and reducing risk of chronic diseases. So as you can see, exercise does play a crucial role in that response as well. And like I mentioned before, exercise is not just, about your physique. And that's one thing that I try to really discuss in detail as much as possible. Um, because a lot of times I do see coaches out there who place exercise primarily on, okay, getting this type of physique, but there's so much more that comes with exercise outside of the physique. There's so much more benefits that, you know, there's coaches out there that don't really, talk about. And that's why, when I do these, specific live streams, I want to talk about these topics because they don't really get explained. Yeah, you can get a great physique, but what are the other benefits of exercise? And I think that's important to know. And especially related to if you have different health conditions, knowing these things can be helpful. And, a lot of people do want solutions for, you know, can this help in other ways, not just about me looking better, but can it help with different things that I may be dealing with, any health conditions I may have? Can, I perform this safely? This and this and that. So that's why I try to talk about these things in detail. But just know, going back to topic, just know that regular exercise does play a crucial role into helping to reduce any inflammation that you may get. So it's of course not just about, preventing inflammation. It can have a lot of other benefits. So just keep that in mind too. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out this live stream, and I hope that you find it valuable and helpful. Again, my main focus with this is really to talk about topics that really matter. As you know, I try to be a coach that approaches things a little bit differently, and I'm not saying that what other coaches may do is not beneficial. But I feel like from what I've seen, in the fitness realm, it's really just become all about the physique. It's not really about, how is this going to help me, how is this going to help my health? And that's what I try to get across as much as possible is that it's important to know these things outside of just, the normal thing, the normal physique topic. So that's why I talk about these things is because I feel like they're way more important to talk about. And I feel like it's, especially for me, for somebody, I've always wanted to know a lot of the benefits of something that I'm doing, rather than just doing it and just, yeah, I'm seeing results, but what other things is you know, helping me in the long run, basically. So that's why I talk about these things. So again, guys, that's all I have for you today. You can check out my website for information on online coaching. I do try to keep it updated. There's free resources on there. You can check out my fitness blog, sign up for my email newsletter. All this stuff is free to access. So definitely check that out. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can send me a message here on Facebook or on any of the other platforms. I do have multiple social media platforms, so you can check those out. But that's all I have for you guys today. I will have another live stream next week, and I'm going to transition back into talking a little bit more about exercise. I'm going to talk a little bit about strength training in the next live stream. So I hope that you will look forward to that. But with all that being said, guys, thank you once again, and I will see you guys next Wednesday at 12 p.m. for our next live stream. So thank you guys and have a great day.